Oh, hello. Welcome to another edition of The Music Snob. In this episode, we'll be covering the long and intriguing history of industrial music. Most people are familiar with heavy metal with its loud guitars, aggressive vocals, and often fast pacing. Bands like Megadeth and Slayer are familiar to many. But what differentiates metal and industrial to the trained ear? Certain forms of industrial music can be very similar to heavy metal in sound, but it can be separated most commonly by its emphasis on electronic elements. Recordings taken from movies referred to as sampling, and what can be described as a cold, detached mechanical feel to the music, which is often portrayed through vocals to make the music sound more artificial. Now that we have the identifiers out of the way, let's get down to the history. It can be argued that the true seeds of the genre can be tracked back as far as the late 1800s, but this presentation will be starting with industrial's most commonly recognized origin of the 1970s. 1969 had two performance artists who went by the stage names Genesis P. Orridge and Casey Fanny Chudy, forming the art group known as Coom Transmishals. Coom was formed to explore social taboos within the realms of sexuality and occultism, and they produced a performance piece entitled Prostitution that apparently contained material so strong that they were banned from playing anywhere inside the United Kingdom. In response, Coom disbanded the same year to reform as a new group, Throbbing Gristle, to explore the boundaries of what could be considered music. Alongside making their own music, they also formed Industrial Records to distribute the works of like-minded artists. The term industrial was coined as a dig at the music establishment, who they viewed as mass-producing music for market consumption. Other artists signed to their roster included German noise artists Endersendy Neubauten and Testing Department. Many of these artists used factory environments, tools, and heavy equipment in the production of their music. Other influences on the music included the literary works of beat poet William S. Burroughs, whose cut-up theory was applied to sound recordings. Burroughs believed existing written works could be cut up and randomly assembled to produce new hidden works within the original. Analog tape cutting experience, inspired by this theory, predated and led to the development of digital sampling and remixing used in today's modern pop and hip-hop. These experiments led to some practitioners of this new style of manufactured music being signed to Wax Trax Records, an electronic music label based out of Detroit, Michigan in the early 80s. Wax Trax assisted in spreading this new type of music throughout North America, and this led to the signing of the first industrial supergroups such as Vancouver-based Scrawny Puppy and Ministry, based out of Chicago. Ironically, Ministry vocalist Alan Jurgensen was often quoted as saying his band, which fused heavy metal guitar sound with electronic beats, as not being an industrial band, but in fact a metal act. Unfortunately, this association had been made by the public, and record labels and this new style of heavy music was embraced by the consumer as industrial. Ministry allowed the explosive growth of similar artists throughout the early 90s, producing such well-known artists as Nine Inch Screws and Hamstein. As the years passed on, these bands broke up and were reformed, leading to the spawning of other well-known artists such as Robert Zombie and Mary Lynn Manson. Since the end of the 90s, industrial music has regrettably fallen from fashion, with the tastes of the public moving on to new genres and styles. But some artists such as Nine Inch Screws, Ministry, and Scrawny Puppy are still making music, and there are a plethora of smaller labels still turning out new and innovative music. Unfortunately, the genre has suffered a lapse in popularity from its heyday, but there is still tons of music to catch up on if you think you might want to look into it further. In this day of digital music distribution, it is so much easier to learn and listen to this stuff than ever before. I hope this quick peek into music might get you looking into some of this amazing and challenging style. There is so much out there to hear. Keep listening, my friends.